improvising over a blues progression, we rely on the pentatonic scale and the blues scale quite a bit. I mean, there's an enormous amount of capability and potential there. So it's no surprise that we do that. But eventually, that can keep our playing sort of sounding very scalular. And adding in arpeggios allows you to add a new dimension. You know, you're playing chords instead of scales. It just adds a new dimension to your playing. Welcome back to the channel. My name's Chris. Today you're going to learn an arpeggio exercise for the 12-bar blues in the key of A. This isn't a real musical application. This is a true sort of exercise. You know, this is getting arpeggios under your hands. In order to incorporate anything like this, you know, arpeggio playing, you have to put as much time, you know, you put a decent amount of time into this. So you really, if you want arpeggios, you have to put a decent amount of time into that as well. Once you get this type of thing under any new information, once you get arpeggios under your hands and in your brain and in your eyes and in your ears, then you'll be able to make different decisions while you're soloing. Okay, we're going to be doing arpeggios around a 12-bar blues in the key of A. I'm going to show you the chords real quickly first, and then we'll explain which shapes we're going to arpeggiate. This chord progression goes like this: A, D, 2 bars of A, then 2 bars of D. These are all 7th chords, then 2 bars of A, a bar of E, a bar of D, a bar of A, and back to E. So we're going to be arpeggiating those shapes. The good news is that there's only 2 shapes to arpeggiate. These are the dominant 7th bar chords. This shape has the root on the E string, and this shape has the root on the A string. We're going to be using these shapes, each one of these, for every chord in the progression. As such, we're going to be using this A chord and this A chord. We're going to be using this D chord and this D chord. We're going to be using this E and this E. But there's only 2 shapes, right? The shape with the root on the E and the shape with the root on the A. Okay, so basically I'm going to show you the 2 primary arpeggios. The idea here is that you ascend or descend the arpeggio depending on where you are in the chord progression. And the trickiest part here is to ascend one arpeggio and then descend another when the chord changes at the bar line. That's going to be the tricky part, and that's where the sort of whole focus of this exercise lies. So let's just get the arpeggios down first. And again, arpeggios are playing chords 1 note at a time. We're going to be going root 3 5 7, root 3 5 7, as far as we can up to the high string and then back down again. We're going to start with this shape here, root on the E string. This is an A7 chord, 5th fret. Ring finger on the 5th fret, E string. On the A string it's 4 7. On the D string it's 5 7. G string 6. B string 5 8. E string 5. And you just come right down that same pattern. That's the E shape arpeggio. We're going to be exclusively using that one for all the E shapes. Now, this arpeggio for the D7 chord starts again on the 5th fret ring finger. The first 3 strings are almost identical, really. A string 5th fret, D string 4 7, G string 5 7, B string 7, E string 5, and then just come right down the same pattern. So those are the only shapes we're going to be using. When I tie these together, I'll use a couple of scale tones to sort of like move us into the next arpeggio, and we'll be sort of ascending the neck at the end of the exercise, all the way up here to this shape up here. So grab those. You might want to go back, pause now, and just make sure you can get those two shapes down, because what I'm going to do now is just go through the entire pattern, and I'm not going to call out fret numbers because you're just going to be using those same two shapes. You're just going to be using shapes with the root on the E and the A string. So here's how the whole pattern goes. That's our A7 arpeggio. Now these are all straight eighth notes, so we've just ended on the bar. This is the first note of our D7 arpeggio, but we're descending this time. Now I'm going to throw in a scale tone here. That's a B note, 7th fret, E string. And that's going to set me up for the 5th fret to play the A7. Since there's two measures here of A7, I'm going to descend A7 here. But here's the bar line, and I want to switch to the D7 here. Here's the bar line. Measures of A here. Now here's the bar line. I'm going to go 6th fret leading up to the 7th for the E shape. And I go down a whole step to approach the D from the flat 7. th fret A string to move up into the A. Up a half step for the E7. So here's the whole thing. A7, down D7, up A7, down A7, up D7, down D7, up A7, down A7, up E7, down D7, up A7, down E7. Well, so there it is. That's 12 bars of arpeggios. You know, lots of ascending and descending, playing over the bar line. There's a lot there. This is a good exercise that isn't easy. This is a difficult exercise. So I would expect it to be a challenge. Even if you have some basic arpeggio capability, this should take this seriously. It's not going to just be easy for you. I've tabbed the whole thing out as usual. That's in the link in the description. So if you need the tabs, go over there and grab them, and I appreciate the support. Just remember that, like I said, this is an exercise, and this will lead you to a capability where you can then use arpeggios freely when you need to, or when you want to, when you hear it. So, for example, if we've got a blues progression, I'm going to use the pentatonic scale. Maybe this. Right? So I'm not using arpeggios blasting through everything like, all the time. I'm waiting until I want to hear them. But in order to get them, I've got to be able to play them. And so that's what this exercise is all about. Okay, spend some time with this. See if you can get it under your fingers and start to incorporate this into your playing. I hope it helps. This kind of arpeggio playing is really a beautiful extra added dimension, and it's worth getting under your fingers. Anyway, good luck with it. I hope it helps, and I'll see you next time.